All right, so let's watch the first role play of the passive constructive way of responding.
Hey, hon.
Hey,
I've got really good news.
what is it?
Leah made the travel soccer team.
That's very good news.
I'm really, really excited.
It's good news.
Yeah, I can't wait to tell him.
I think it'll be great.
Well, I guess we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Okay, so that first style that Bob just demonstrated for you, we call a conversation killer. What did you notice in the way Bob responded when Mary came to him with good news? You probably saw that Bob was, barely paying any attention to her. He hardly looked up from his phone. He certainly was distracted. Did you notice his body language? He didn't even sort of turn toward Mary. He wasn't oriented toward her. He provided some understated support. I mean, he said things like, "That's great," but you didn't get the sense that he was fully engaged with her. And so the conversation kind of just flatlined, right? It just kind of fizzled out. Now, what about Mary? Mary looked hurt. I mean, you could see she sighed, her face kind of fell, she looked down. So that's the first style, conversation killer. And the most critical elements about this style is that you're giving kind of distracted, kind of understated support, but there's no sense that you're really in this conversation with the other person. Now, I'd like you to take a minute and record when you tend to be a conversation killer, what are some of the factors that push you into being distracted and understated? What pushes you into responding as a conversation killer? Maybe, you're tired. Maybe you're feeling a little bored. Maybe you're engaged in something else that has your attention. These are some of the things that we hear from people that make it hard for them to get out of that sort of conversation killer way of responding. Okay, sometimes we think we can tell the other person to go away and maybe come back later. So what do I mean by that? Think about the number of times, particularly you as a parent, when you come home from a long day, you are a little tired. Maybe you're thinking about what's been happening at work, and your child comes, bounding up to you while you're barely through the threshold and says, "Mom, Dad, I had this amazing thing happen. I want to tell you about it." And you, in that moment, say, "You know what, just give Mommy 15 minutes. Let me unwind. Let me get out of my work clothes. Then come back. And I want to hear about it, but give me 20 minutes. How often do you do that? I know, if I'm being honest, with my kids, particularly when they were younger, that would be something I would commonly do, the go away and come back later style. The problem with that is that often they wouldn't come back 20 minutes later. And even if I, 20 minutes later, sought that child out, sought out my daughter Shana and said, "Tell me now, Mommy wants to know, what were you so excited about?" Guess what? The look on Shana's face is different. The joy that she's sharing 20 minutes later isn't the same joy that she would have shared if in the moment she wanted me, I made myself available to her. So sometimes when we're a conversation killer, it's because we believe we'll do it later. But I want to suggest that while that's a real-world dilemma, you are tired when you get home at the end of the day, that maybe we need to rise to the occasion and give the people we love more of what they want the moment they want it.